Frozen. Good morning and welcome to today's live show. We're getting that PPI data out right now. So if you're not watching this live, make sure to tune into the last 15 minutes. So you can get a little breakdown during the day here. Thursday, big day. We got PPI today. We got some earnings tomorrow. We got sentiment tomorrow. So a lot of things, a lot of rocks out there. So if you weren't here to get those daily ranges, get those right now. For the SPY, 519.27. 509.05. Okay, that's to the downside there. So we can pay attention to these levels. Look like the reaction is good. Let's pull up before we switch over to the Qs. I'm going to leave up the SPY for you for a moment here so you can get that on your chart. Look at that, PPI coming in at 0.2. Remember when I said, if this comes in lower, be careful. This was really hot last time. Now it's coming in lower. Now you do have initial jobless claims coming down a little bit. That's actually a little inflationary. The core PPI year over year looking like it's actually up to 2.4. So that's interesting as well. Core PPI month over month at 0.2. So actually this is good. You might see a positive reaction from the market with this. And then we do have some Fed talking heads coming out at 11 or coming out at 11 noon, 12:30 or 12:30 actually. But good morning. Weird. No one said good morning yet. Weird. Now we have to see if we can shrug off yesterday's data in any way, right? We have to see if we can shrug that off. There it is. Thanks, Drag. Good morning. DB Trades, good morning. I was like, what the heck? No one said good morning to me. Sam, thanks. What up, Donald? Donald telling me to get my coffee. I'm here. I got it. So we can pay attention to these ranges. If you weren't on the Patreon, you might need these ranges, okay? So I'm leaving them here up on the SPY for a moment. That would be 519.27 to the upside, 509.05 to the downside. Really close to our weekly expected move. So usually when it's close to that weekly expected move, I really like this because we're kind of, it's like a magnet. It really is. So now you have three magnets all sitting together. I mean, price might want to do something like this, but not doing that as of right now. Popping to the upside. We'll see if we can break a little trend and start to head upward right now. But the Qs here, market will be mixed today. I think so, because you have yesterday's, like, what the hell with CPI, and now you have today's, oh, what the hell with PPI. So PPI coming in lower. That's why I kept saying it. You know, you don't want to dig into it too much. And I can't remember who was saying it a bunch yesterday about the cookbooks and stuff like that, but it's just like PPI most likely should be up. It was up last month. CPI is up and up again. So it probably is up this month. Well, they see that CPI print and they go, oh, well, maybe we should actually make PPI good news. You think banks are in trouble? Like today? I mean, I'd say they like this a little bit. They like this a little bit is what I would say. But remember, this is all still pressure. Even all this, actually. This is all pressure. Now they're okay. This is pressure. This is pressure. This is pressure. So if this doesn't come off dramatically soon, it's going to be worrisome. I wonder if... Okay, I know, we're conspiracying this all right now. But what if they talk to banks and tell them to say good things in their earnings? so they don't give away that the banks are in trouble until they actually fail. No, they wouldn't do that. TLT starting to see a little bit of a bounce here, but nothing crossed, no momentum going up just yet. So bonds still not catching a bid really yet. We'll have to pay attention to that. Volatility still remaining higher. Remember, we were looking at this 2 hour. Look at the 2 hour here, wanting to cross over. Look how close it is to negative territory. So if you don't think positivity can come in, it can. Volatility can come in because we're above that 200 on the daily scale, but volatility can go down if we start to cross down and go negative. Then you're looking for a negative trend for a little while. So I would pay attention to that today. High yield growth getting a little bounce from here. This thing really needed to bounce at this level. Look at this close below this. That is pretty bad, actually, the close coming in right about here, but still closing right at it. So Hooker both had earnings this morning. I think planned that, maybe. I mean, I don't know. All right. And then let's go through each stock, though. So if you don't have those ranges, this is the time to get them, guys. This is the time to get those ranges up on your charts, all right? Make sure to, like, pause at this point, get it on the SPY, fast forward a little bit, get it on the Qs. 519.27 to the upside, 509.05 to the downside. These were already posted on Patreon, so you guys should already have those ready. 443.46 for the Qs to the upside, and 433.04 to the downside. So really what I expected, actually, I kind of thought this might happen, was this is kind of bottled up, right? I thought maybe if we get that good print for PPI, we actually gap and use this and start to see some kind of blow off top. And I really thought that might have happened. Oh, I think so too, Drake. I actually think this is still sturdy as a good top up here. We get bank earnings. What if we get some kind of pop, and then tomorrow we get those earnings and it starts to drop? So I need to look up the earnings whisperer. JP Morgan, let's see, are these after 6:55 a.m., 5:55 a.m.? So everything happens before open tomorrow. Citigroup, 8 a.m. as well. So we have a bunch of earnings here with a bunch of very important companies. Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Progressive, BlackRock, JP Morgan. So we got a lot going on tomorrow. They did say some banks fail. If you guys were watching, that's something we said in the YouTube video after he talked both the last times he talked about banks failing. Morning, Jeremiah. Are Jeremiah and DB Trade secretly friends now? This is great. This is great. People making friendships. Fantastic. No, that's how they ask for water, though. My dog Lily did the same thing. She would chew on her bowl, but it usually meant she wanted FOOD. All right, so the keys, remember that these, we're going to switch over to this real quick, give you guys those ranges. We already did, but I just want to do it one more time while people are still trickling in. 443.46 to the upside, 433.04 to the downside. Look at that, getting a pop, see if this 2 hour is able to curl up. If that can go positive, I mean, if that could go positive today, we actually could see a strong move outside of these ranges and get that to keep going. So we'll pay attention to that. IWM, catching a bid, but not the strongest. So we'll have to see if we can shake up all of yesterday's news. Apple's going to be a big one to talk about, right? See, this is very bottled up. Apple looking like a big move is coming, but is that just going to fail and we see some kind of big drop? We'll have to see, but Apple looking like momentum is dying out. Could be a potential there. Tesla not able to curl over on the 2 hour here. That's very, very telling, actually. 30-minute able to cross up positive territory. Another move might be coming. Watch out, because Tesla could set up a divergence showing weakness before we get a bunch of earnings in the morning. Be a little careful with that. That's all I would say. Now, same thing going on for Amazon, scooping up, right? And then we're going to see some kind of maybe slight move higher. These points here, if we want to keep some kind of divergence here, the RSI is not going to go above 66.82. Yeah, BlackRock made billions off of the ETF. Yeah, I think BlackRock's... the thing is, it's like, if these are somehow invested in inflationary stuff, I mean, if banks are still getting paid by people, we're not seeing delinquencies like skyrocket or anything, then they should be fine. That's the scary part there. Look at that second move by NVIDIA here, getting that ABC up. See if this 2 hours, that thing has to get to positive territory to see that positivity come in. Remember to watch your weekly ranges. Nike upgraded. Isn't BlackRock the biggest liquidity holder in the world? They will always make money. Yeah. BlackRock owns everything, and you're going to own nothing once they own literally everything and be happy. AMD, this one finally crossing again on this 2 hour, okay? It crossed for a moment, came back down. We set up another point of divergence. It looks like AMD's momentum is telling you, hey, this is dying out. we get some good news, we can pop higher. PPI was good news for the market, honestly. And then Meta here, seeing if that can turn up on the 2 hour, but we got to pay attention 30-minute. If that rolls down negative territory, that's the two sides, the bullish and bearish, you need to pay attention to. Microsoft, pretty good move, honestly. This thing needed to hold up here, needed to curl up, positive territory to go higher. Now we can make that move. It is possible at this point. Dollar will have support. Well, we could see the dollar really drop off if we get some good news tomorrow. Seeing that curl over on the 2 hour, but we just want to look at a daily. You have some divergence up here. We could drop off. I would still look for another test of the 200 before I get excited. If that wants to break down, I'm expecting us to break down for a few days here. Maybe dramatically break down, right? And then come down into this point down here. That's what I'd pay attention to. So kind of line it up with... we got to line it up with something. We got to see where that support is. So really this little box in here, if we wanted to draw a little box, it would actually be right here. You see these highs up here, right there, right. We'll draw a pretty big zone, but anywhere in this area, you can get a reaction. So you just want to see if you're going to curl up, positive territory, something like that. If we curl down, curl back up. That's what I would think would happen with the Dixie. The Dixie. HYG actually going negative now. That's not a good sign. TLT about to go negative now. So that is interesting to see. The fact that we got good news now with the PPI, and we're not seeing these yields react. I think they're calling the Fed's bluff. I really do. No one's wanting to buy these bonds right now. I mean, what do you guys think? I think no one wants to buy these bonds right now. It looks like no one wants to. Regional banks are the issue. It's interest rates and their portfolio. And we'll see what they report tomorrow. They don't care about food inflation. Bastards. Sell off until tomorrow's data? Tomorrow's data is like kind of important. Right? Michigan consumer sentiment. I mean, maybe with consumer sentiment showing good and PPI coming down, then that causes the reaction, and then we'll have to see what happens after that. But so far, I think it's going to mainly be about those earnings with the banks, right? People are worried about banks. Look at us. We're talking about it right now. So you bet other people are too. Maybe they start to head down. And then one other thing that's been good for the market was retail sales, right? Retail sales has been up multiple times and people saw it as good news. So if they start to say, hey, this is inflationary, though, you're going to say, oh, well, then we're probably going to see those yields actually head higher if retail sales comes in hot again. So I would just pay attention to that. Look at these yields. Do you think the yields could roll over to bad news and markets rally short term? I actually do. I think there's potential, and thank you for saying like the video, but I think there's potential for the yields to back off. Yeah, it's been very bad auctions, but we've actually watched auctions before, right? And around auction time, you do see this come down for some, like almost every single auction I've seen for bonds has caused, TLT to go down. So I'm not too surprised by that. About to get stopped out on this though. I'm like just about to get stopped out on this bad boy. Let's see if the SPY is able to reverse back around. 30-minute did curl up, but it's got to go positive now. Howdy doody. You're only hoping here. I mean, with this pop here, this wasn't some kind of, cup and handle type deal. Boom. But if this can reverse from here, that would be a good sign. Let's go through some stocks here. Apple, right? 30-minute curling up. What if this divergence down here has something to say about Apple as well? We could see a big move. I'd look for it to break this trend. Then we can be a little confident there. Tesla not fully able to curl up as of right now. Amazon still breaking down a little bit from that initial pop. Nvidia doing a similar thing. Get that baby some stocks. She needs stocks and socks. Now, if Google sees some upside here, it's actually going to tell you it's weakening, right? If it gets a little bit higher, I'd say this thing's weakening. So at this point, you could say fill in the cup. What if we get a handle and then we head higher? Then that drops off. That's what I'd pay attention to. Crying for the bond market. Yeah, crying because these yields, they keep going higher. Oh, I got stopped out. Yeah, let me see my notification here. Stopped out on TLT and then it bounces. So we might have to look to get back into this. We'll have to see. But some stuff looking a little bit, I don't want to say better because they're not at their weekly moves or anything like that. Looking for something at its weekly move. But as of right now, you'd have to say this is not exactly the best. So Luke's going to sit on his hands and wait for the craziness to subside. All right, we got stopped out. We're just going to see how this plays out, look for a different trade, because TLT is really not working for us just yet. We'll see if this bounces, and then we'll get back in. But till then, we'll have to wait on that. Love to see the responsible trading. Yeah, you got to. If you break through this, it'd be bad. I'm going to go say bye to the girls. I'm going to leave you guys on the SPY for just a moment. Here, I'll carry her. I'll carry Ari up. So she's kind of heavy now. So I got to carry her. I'll be right back in a couple minutes here. Now, there is a reason that I'm getting out of TLT, guys. There's a reason I'm getting out of that short-term trade, all right? The reason for that is TLT on a weekly scale crossed down negative territory, right? So that tells me, right? What do I say every time when we cross down in negative territory? Well, sorry, I'm out of breath. She's heavy now. Oh my goodness. Okay. We cross over on the weekly. Reject at the 50. So therefore, we break this low, cross down negative territory. What could happen when we cross down negative territory? Something like this, right? So I'm not trying to fight against that weekly momentum, even though we're at the bottom of the Bollinger and all that good stuff. I'm not going to fight against it. I'm going to be risk managed and not take this right now. It looks okay if it can curl up, but I'm going to wait for it to actually curl up at this point because it's just dropping off dramatically. We're going to have to go find something else. So we're going to look around. Let's find something else. Maybe something that's in a... Ooh, well, Apple, what are you doing? Curling up. Maybe we should take a chance with Apple. Maybe I should do that, you know? Apple showing 30-minute divergence across the board. Moment in time. We could see positivity. What if bank earnings are good? So I got to decide with that. We could also wait till the craziness just stops, right? We could just wait till that craziness finally just stops. That would be nice. So we'll think about taking some trades, but right now, I think I'd rather even just see this kind of go nuts, go to the upside, take a bunch of positions short for a long month period of time. PPI up big from November. Next CPI bad once the cookbooks filter through. And PPI, I'm not necessarily seeing PPI up big, right? 0.2, previous 0.6, consensus 0.3, 0.4. So PPI month over month doesn't look bad to me. PPI X food energy. Yeah, X food energy and trade is still 131. That's crazy. So the year over year doesn't look good. And the actual PPI of 143.7 is right at forecast there. Tesla pits. See, that's the hard part. It's like this one here, if you really want to, maybe this goes you might just sit on your hands and wait a sec because Tesla's starting to roll over. Uh-oh, 2 hour. No, Tesla's going to lose some stuff here. If we do this, you have the head and shoulders we were talking about still. I know we broke through it once. What if we break through again, take out this level now? That would mean the double bottom is off. So very interesting here. But the weekly scale for the TLT for those yields, it's just not looking good on the weekly scale. It looks like we might scale up over time. So even if we could go through a moment where the stock market does head up with like good retail sales and TLT keeps dropping off and yields keep going up because that's still strong data. Trucking's falling off. Trucking's falling off. Is it demand issue with the consumer or no? Look at this guy. This guy's been beat down for a while. Ooh, a lot of flagging here. Oof, yeah. Flagging here, starting to break that flag as of, today and yesterday, really. So starting to break this structure right here. Not a good look for the regional banks. It really isn't. Look at that flag. So ABC move, you can measure this out a little bit, see if we land something like this. Go with this high up here, maybe. Okay, 43, looking pretty juicy. We've got a gap right there that could come in as gap support. So I'd be looking at that. Oh, the business is saying, do you believe the yield curve inverting causing some unseen bear market so far? I don't think this is the bear market moment yet. You need volatility. In a bear market, usually volatility remains above 16, above 20 for a long time. Now you are above the 200, so that's something to realize with the VIX, right? We're still above the 200. We're starting to see that fade back down. A lot of this type of behavior here, right? So we can see we have some divergence up here, 2 hour divergence here, about to cross down. So some positivity can come today. That's just what the momentum's telling you, but you're still above the 200. So literally you can see this come in at any time. Apple's starting to break out, so I think I'm going to take that play. I'm going to see if we can make it happen. Gosh, data makes these stocks not want to move, huh? And we can go look, TLT, it's holding up down at these areas, but you just got to be a little bit cautious with it. So all this stuff's starting to fade down. The divergence kind of getting rid of right now. So you still have it as of right now, but if this just drops a little lower, you kind of get that taken away from you there. Took a SPY call here, and let's go watch the SPY while this stuff's cooking. While this stuff's cooking. You did get that to cross up, so the momentum's telling you it kind of wants to go up from here. You like Apple? No, I'm going for a quick play. I'm not buying it long term. I like the momentum dying out, and it started to break through. Now, that was maybe a little pre-sure of me, but hourly here, you can see across the way, you have divergences all across here. So I think some kind of big move is cut. Look how bottled up we are, too. Like, we are just... We've gotten these little big, like some big move there, big move down, big move up. Now they're getting smaller, 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 smaller. Boom, maybe we'd see that break to the upside. So that's all I'm saying. And if we wanted to head up, left, head, come up to this point, create that right shoulder, that would be nice. But I think some kind of big reaction could come here. Now that reaction could be the other way. Remember, price getting tight, we could see a reaction down as well, a big move down, but the divergence is here telling you the momentum to the downside is rough, so the downside might be limited, therefore the upside looks a little juicier here. Oh my gosh, I'm stretching. But yeah, you're right, it's below the 200. So all I'm planning here is some kind of bounce, right? Some kind of bounce gets us up to this area, then I think we start to fail maybe. But that doesn't even have to happen, right? That doesn't even have to happen. We're negative trend. You are completely right. We're negative at this point. So it can just keep curling down on this MACD down here. This is wonky price action for the 2 hour, right? Just kind of trickling down here. Just price target on Apple from 210 to 210 from 215 maintains overweight rating. Not yet, but in general, we are still long away from it. Yeah, we're a long way from inverting. Usually when the uninversion happens, it's about 6 to 12 months after that. I'm just at stocks where they're at right now, though. If they wanted to actually go higher here, you know, we were talking about stocks where they're at. Let's look at the SPY. The indice where it's at, SPY. Actually potential to go higher now, right? This hasn't fully played out yet, this triple top. We haven't seen it really start to break down. I guess it did kind of play out if you do the measured move here, right? If you did something like this one's played out like to the T. So this one here has played out. Now we can head higher. That's why I want to pay attention to any kind of upward move. But we haven't seen that yet. You have divergence down here on the RSI, but not the SPY, or not the MACD. So we could see some kind of bounce, but will that fail up towards these highs? That's kind of what I'm paying attention to. If it's not going to fully fail, then I expect us to do something like that. Grab liquidity, hit the high, grab liquidity, and then head higher. The thing about April right now, for the top, it could come at the end of the month. You're pretty close to the monthly expected move to the downside. So if we're going to see something bad happen, you're going to start to break through that and really see something bad happen. But as of right now, as you get closer and closer to the bottom of the monthly, sure, you could gravitate towards it, but it starts to add up for some kind of bounce for the rest of the month. So I would just pay attention to that going forward. See if your 30 minutes are rolling back over. Things like that would be very telling. Just be trading like water, right? Even me, I'm getting out of this, right? I'm already out, right? And I'm putting my stuff into something else. Seeing volatility on the 2 hour looks like it wants to cross to the downside. Could be some big news there, right? Could be some big stuff there. UVXY, it looks like it got the split, so it's at 35. What if this just rolled down? Well, volatility kind of telling you it might. Oh boy. Done some stuff here. An AMD. This is another one. It looks like we could see some kind of pop. 2-hour crossing over again. 30-minute divergence crossing up as of right now. Pretty solid divergence too, by the way. Very, very close to that positive territory. So could get some kind of move from AMD. It just looks like things want to bounce. But if they don't, that's perfectly fine. And then I can look for what's my weekly expected move and things like that. Just maybe looking for a fun play. Yeah, that's right. I've officially opened up Robinhood. It's my fun account. I'm ready to make a fun play for Friday, maybe. But I didn't win this week, really. I didn't have too many good... Like, I kind of broke even for the week with that next stopping me out. Pretty much breaking even for the entire week. Kind of a bummer. We will be giving out the daily risk ranges for every stock that we cover on this channel. Look at this for just a moment here. Try something there. Let's see here. Sir East B, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Seems it's going to be a calm day today. Is market waiting for the 30-year bond? It could be. Steve Strong to retest 187. Do you think a breakout previous all-time high possible? I think it's possible for sure. You're crossed up on this MACD. You're heading up. Now, if you wanted to create that 30-minute divergence, you're probably stopping somewhere up here. But if you're starting to go higher here, well, then we can see an upside move. Apple looking like, hey, it's starting to fade back down, so you have to wait for these divergences to actually cross to take that play. So I'll probably, I kind of have the order up already. I'm just deciding if I really want to do it or not. So 15-minute rolling over here. Do we go make another point of divergence, right? We weren't able to break through at this moment. You can see the kind of little trend here, not able to break. If you pull that trend up to this area and kind of cross it back down, we weren't able to break it just yet. Could NVIDIA move down to 900? Or move up to 900? Well, right now you're actually seeing some small divergence on the 15. That's something to pay attention to. Really, you just want to see if volatility can scoot back up. I think that will be pretty telling. Right now, I mean, as of right now, if you just look at it, what did we do? Well, we scooped all the way back up to here. Maybe we create that handle. We actually explode higher. Remember, we kind of drew that up yesterday. Looks like that's starting to come to fruition here. TLT actually breaking through. So look at that. My risk management paid off, right? My risk management paid off there. That means these yields are going to go higher. 20-year going higher. 30 going higher. So a lot of stuff here you'll see on the, they can make moves higher. Volatility can start to scoop up. And HYG going pretty negative at this point. Dow just keeps dropping negative territory. So you want those negative trend trades. Well, look for if the Dow builds up to the center line drops off, right? We just got to see about some of those. So if the SPY could have, done this and then dropped off, you'd know, hey, go short in this area. But because this is a negative trend, right? Go short, play the low. Builds up to the center line. You see that cross. You can play the low. If it breaks, you can play the downside daily expected move. As of right now, I don't think that direction's really decided just yet. A little bit of a fake out. Now we have to see if it tests this low, what happens. But what does everyone else think? What do you guys think happens for the rest of the day? Do you think we end up green or do we end up red? Maybe something to do here is look at the daily. Just say green or red in the chat. If you're bullish or bearish, green or red. Right now, still holding up, but look at that. We are below both of these. Remember, we haven't done that for 2 days in a row, so we just broke it again. Now we got to see, can we do it for 2 days in a row? I think that will be telling if we're going to go test this 50 down here. Green, hoping red, green. Yeah, I think you're right in saying that a little bit. Happy Friday. This thing probably won't let it happen. Maybe we just buy back up by end of day, but we still have to see kind of an indecision bar down here. Even with this big gap down, you kind of got indecision in this area. So now you're seeing that not able to be decisive right here. Quick 60% took half off the table on the downside. Very, very good. That's what we like to see. And AMD, you see it on the daily scale. This thing could just pop before earnings. We could see something like that happen. So really pay attention. AMD very bottled up. Looks like a big move is coming. It's really bottled up. Even though it's flagging, right? You see this flagging on the daily here. We haven't really closed below that level to make that next big flush. So this could start to build back up. 1.44. Not bad. Red the rest of the week. Pitching's very common. Heck yeah. You see the head and shoulders on AMD. I do see it. Waiting for us to get the right shoulder, though, right? We just now tested this area. So I think we could see that right shoulder come up right now, is all I'm saying. We could see some kind of reaction up to this level. And then I would be more happy with the structure, right? Not just grabbing liquidity down in this area. That would be kind of bad if we just flushed, really. I think if you build up, though, you have a potential for a bigger flush. Maybe go test down in this area down here. So looking for us to maybe head down towards a like 133.83 if we see some downside after we build some structure. And notice that would come at the end of April. If we broke this at the end of April, then your range for the month might be down here and up here. And we'll pay attention to those on Patreon. But we could find that top in April is still what I'm looking at. SMCI seeing a pretty good bounce here as well. Now this one's got head and shoulders already. You see it right in front of you. You kind of see this base down in here, even a little bit higher, but you kind of see how this little box down in here can create the left head, and then now we're creating some kind of right shoulder. That wants to break down. So if it gets a reaction up, okay. If it reacts for a few days, then you're going to see that. So if this is able to cross positive territory, that's going to be some big green days. We might see that extend for a little bit in April. Google, though, is pretty tapped out. So it's kind of still mixed bag, right? Google kind of tapped out. Microsoft kind of tapped out. So maybe I'm wrong in thinking, you know, we could get some kind of bounce from here. Conflict in the Middle East crashing the stock market here. Right at earnings. I can see SPY rolling on the 15-minute, getting to the low from yesterday. It's going to happen at some point. There's just not enough rocket fuel. And yeah, you're right. When you look at stuff like Microsoft, Google, you can see how tight they are in this upward trend here. Probably the correct play is just to be like, hey, I'm going to go short for a few months. But I really think in this 15-minute, you're right, might be rolling over. Does it create some kind of divergence down here? Well, if it curls over negative territory, I would really start to target the bottom side daily expected move. Remember, we kind of gravitate towards them at times. And if you look, where's our daily move here? Well, it's right at this high. So this ABC pattern would end up being right back down to here. You don't even have to measure because it's at this high. So you know that this is going to be where that ends most likely. So when this crosses over, you're most likely already going to be taking out this low. AMD starting to roll up, right? Looking strong, just about to go positive, but will that positivity continue? You might consolidate for a little bit before you head up again. NVIDIA popping higher, giving you a slight divergence up here on the MACD and RSI. So what if that just does this, right? This is where head and shoulders would pop up, right? Look at this, left, head. Now we go make a right shoulder. That would make total sense here. So let's just be a little patient with it today. Tesla rolling over now. So that 2 hour probably rolled over. Yep. So Tesla telling you, hey, my direction is down. I'm in a negative trend. I can go into negative territory here. So if that confirms, not going to be a good sign. Just weird to see Tesla kind of still dropping off while AMD and all these other ones still remaining higher. Alrighty, and I was up at 3 a.m. taking care of baby girl for a little bit. Even came over and looked at stocks after I did to chill out a little bit. She was yelling at me, guys. She was yelling at me. So I'm going to pop out just for 1 second. I'm going to go use the brush my teeth and all that good stuff. All right, I'll be back in 2 seconds. Well, not 2 seconds. I don't brush my teeth for 2 seconds, guys. It's at least 45 seconds. We're back. I'm shitting. I'm here. Look at that, rolling over. Looks like we're going to maybe target the downside if we're not able to hold up at this low, right? The 15-minute, we follow that, about to cross over negative territory. You're going to see that right as you break. RSI already crossed the center line, so it's starting to really look like you want to make some kind of move lower. I would look for us to hold up maybe at that daily expected move or just above it. See if we can do something like that. But you see the negative trend just taking over. We are in negative trends on a lot of these shorter time frames. We just got to see, is volatility going to break through here and close outside of that today? I think that will be telling. 15-minute kind of wonky for that. You just want to see 30-minute. I really would see this dropping off. Unless this daily momentum is just really going to take over and we're just going to see volatility start to push. But you see, when you see bigger sell-offs initially, you get a big spike of volatility for a few days. This is like a decent spike, but now it's wonky. So look, whenever it gets a little wonky, wonky, fails, wonky, fails. But it did go hold up higher. So now we look at this 50 too. The 50 just at the 200 here. So you're looking for this to fade back down if you're bullish, because if this starts to cross, crash is looking pretty good, looking like it's on the table. High yield growth starting to really drop off. So this is worrisome, right? This is very worrisome because that means the market should most likely do the same. Is the market doing the same? Not as much, right? Not as much. So your high yield growth is still down at this level down here and now just made a move down. This is still well up here, making a slight move down, but not really giving you that firm break here. So I'd pay attention to that going forward. High yield growth saying, hey, we're heading lower. And what do? We test it looks like we got a little bit of a test of the 20 and the 5. Not able to cross at this moment. If that crosses, you have like a 90% chance that you come down into this area down here. They give like a 90% chance to test this 50 if we close like this right now. Like if this would cross over, I mean. Q's already crossed. So it doesn't look good. Able to hold up a little bit better. Two runners left. This is fun. I'm glad you're having a good day, man. Mark says it's going to be even. Dragon's having a good day. That's awesome. Congrats on your 60%, my man. It's awesome. We love to see it. Apple's still able to hold up a little bit better than some other stuff, right? Better than the SPY. Better than the Qs fading their move right now. Got that crossing down here of the 30-minute MACD. It needs to go positive to hold on to this, though, right? Keeping the stop tight, right? Probably at this low, honestly. I'm not going to play it even down to this wick. I'm just going to say, I'm literally going to say this right here. I'm going to stop out. I'm going to go do that now. Oh, my camera's off. There we go. I'm going to go do that now. Set that up. All right. Good to go on that. Like I said, we got to be trading tactically. Take the wins with some losses. Yeah, and if Apple broke through, that would be a better sign. 2 hour. If that's good cross up, that would be a good sign. I wonder if consumer, or not, is it consumer sentiment that we get tomorrow? Yeah, consumer sentiment. I wonder if that's ever cooked too. Oh, in the 5-year inflation expectation is going to be big, probably. So tomorrow that inflation expectation could be pretty big. All right, I got eye boogers. Ugh. It's called hopium. It's just basic. Your basic psychology is like you want it to win. You don't want to take the loss. You don't want to admit I need to take a loss. Is probably what's in your head. Like you're like, oh, this could turn around. You start to convince yourself of like certain things setting up, even when it's going down. No, you just want to be very diligent with it and be like, hey, if I think Apple's going to go up, well, maybe I want to take something a little different. Maybe I want to take Apple. But at the same time, I could go over to Meta or something and take something there to the downside just in case, right? Or Google looks pretty juicy, right? So Google, even though it could make that move higher, maybe you take something up here as a longer term put option in case something bad happens. And then you take a trade like this one to the upside in case that positivity happens. I'm just saying that would be a good option to do because Google doesn't look like it has much room to the upside. Apple does look like it has room to the upside. It's fallen down for quite some time. So this does have the potential to pop higher because the price is lower. Now it's below the 200, but this one has a lot more reward to the upside and some risk to the downside. So you want to make sure I'm out of that risk if I cut below this level. Okay, that's set up. And just in case this goes the other way and I don't catch it, I want to get into something. I want to get into Google up at these levels or something like that. You can kind of take two trades at the same time and just have the one that stops out is the one that continues to go for you. by SPX going to 5,100. Very well. Look at that. We're starting to wick up now. So I would just say you were watching the 15. If that can cross over, well, then you're going to be breaking this low. You can target down in this area, the weekly, daily or weekly down here. We gravitate towards them, so it would make sense. Wow. You think Google will bounce back up? Google looks kind of rough for a bounce back up. It does. It can, right? Scooping up. Maybe we create the handle, right? You have cup and handle that can form like this and then go higher. But I'm just telling you, your upside a little bit limited. I mean, just look at the daily scale. Daily scale wise, well, upside, let's just do a Bollinger Bands perspective, right? We'll just do a Bollinger Band perspective. Upside, the Bollinger Band's telling you 161. Downside, it's saying 144. So the difference is this versus this happening. So you just say risk to reward here not looking very good. And that's where I'm talking about. Apple's different. Apple, the risk to the downside is like 165.75. But the potential for upside here, 176. That's why I'm saying Apple looks a little bit better for a bounce. Google, even though it's in a positive trend, yeah, it can bounce up, but it's just not going to be that big. So if Google bounces up, I bet Apple bounces more than Google. If Google drops off, well, I bet Apple holds up a little bit better. I found the secret to the stock market. If I buy a stock, it goes down every time. You got to switch that thinking somehow. You got to switch something about your strategy. But also, Gary, if you could like post what trades you're taking so we can do the opposite, that'd be dope. I'm just kidding, Gary. Just go through, see what's going wrong every time. See what's going wrong with your trade every single time. And I would really just like write that down on paper and be like, well, what did you not do before taking the trade? Oh, well, I didn't look at the MACD. Well, the MACD on the daily scale looks like this. Or the 2 hour wasn't able to fully curl up. This is actually creating 2 hour divergence up here on Google. So I'm not saying this has to be good news for Apple or AMD. I'm actually just saying there's multiple different trades to be had here. All right, let's see if I'm going to get stopped out of anything just yet. Nothing really on Apple happening here. Could roll down, create some divergence, but we're going to be quick to get out of this one if it happens. Starting to look like downside looking pretty good according to Google. Even Microsoft starting to break down here. So if Microsoft breaks this again, right? If we break this low, well, guess what? You're going to break through this. That's not good, right? Microsoft has been in this for quite some time. Sure, you've built up some liquidity now, so you can head higher, but you're still already at a point where this could just drop out, come and test this level down here over time, maybe even before earnings or something. But I would think we get some kind of run up right before earnings. I really think we get some kind of run up, and then that's ripped away. Or, I mean, inflation is the play, right? So if we come down, what if they're still making money with inflation? We get that retest, and then that starts to head down. That's a possibility as well. Meta spread out the Bollinger Bands. Now it's kind of struggling a bit. Oh, wait, we just looked at Microsoft. Google, this was a great trade. Remember, we were talking about Google down in these areas, right? Curling up, cross through the trend. Boom, that big move coming forward. So no retest or anything like that. The strong moves don't retest. So this is a strong move, right? We break through here. Maybe this would have retested a little bit, but gapped up, started going. So solid trade there. Netflix, something we haven't looked at. It's not looking the best. SMCI still holding a little bit stronger. Mara. The thing with Mara right now is I'm paying attention to a bunch of stuff, but the 2 hour here, just want to see if that can scoot back up and go positive. You do have divergence at this level. So you have the potential for a bounce. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing today. Creating some kind of lower high. So we're probably going to see if we're going to test this low. Do we stay within this structure? Right now you're within like a little bit of structure here. So you do have this wedge that keeps forming. The only problem with the wedge is you keep cupping, handle. So we keep looking like we still want to go higher. Really, I would be convinced that we're going negative trend once this low is taken out right here. Once 65,000 pretty much is closed below, I'd be more convinced there's downside. The Doge giving you lower highs at this point. We'll have to see what happens with that. Looks like you're at a point where you kind of need to bounce from, right? If we drew that up. So we can look at futures, see if anything adds up here, right? I just noticed there's divergences down at these levels for the futures, and you're going to notice that on the keys with the 30-minute as well. They look pretty similar. If you're going to look at futures, I would look at a 2-hour for your 30-minute play pretty much. Q's able to hold up a little bit. Apple not fully breaking down, so maybe we just want to look at this one for just a little bit here. AMD going positive? What's AMD doing? AMD still looking like a good move. Crossing that center line. We just need to see that strength, consolidation, strength, right? So a strong move could come. We'll have to see what happens with that going forward. Why is Doge still a thing? I don't know. I think it'll be gone. Long term for NVIDIA, I think it goes back to, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but longer term, like if you're talking, maybe 10 years from now, this thing might be up again. But I think that NVIDIA is going to crash down to one of these points. One of these 3 points. That's where I think it heads to. 570, 459, and 375. I think those 3 points are very good to pay attention to. Very, very good. And then I would be convinced, okay, now the buyers can step back in, and I would like a more structured move up. I don't want this to skyrocket like this. I want to see it go, boom, come up to here, consolidate, come up to here, consolidate, maybe drop off a little, then come back up, then consolidate, then go. That's what I would want. I don't think this happens like that right now, by the way. Just drawing this line, I don't think that happens. I'm just saying once it gets down to this area, this easily could go, boom, like this. Earnings drop, right? We could see this happen, right, around earnings. So I'm not fully convinced that this is the real, for sure top at this point. But once the SPY starts to lose that 50, well, you're noticing we're spreading out those Bollinger Bands to the downside. We're getting 2 closes as of right now below the 20, which hasn't happened in this entire run. So that means that this might be different than the last time we were testing it. So now that we're getting a bunch of closes below, what if we take out that 50? Well, you'd maybe even go outside of this April monthly move, use it as resistance and head lower. So if you're going to see a crash, you're going to get outside of the monthly expected move. I just wanted to point that out. Usually you'll get outside of the monthly expected move. It should have died after the Musk pump. Well, it kind of did. It's not trading nearly where it was at then. Didn't it go up to 60 cents or something like that on Doge? You guys want to see? You guys want to see? Oh, it wasn't even up. See, that's a funny thing too. It wasn't even on Robinhood when I had this trade. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Look at that high up there. So it's still not competing with its highs. Got all the way up to 48. I sold when it got to I'm pretty sure 16 cents, and I made $6 grand off $100. That was one of my fun plays. Oh, that was a fun play that actually worked out. AMD, we're still paying attention to the 2-hour here, seeing if that thing can go positive. Not looking the strongest as of right now, but you see it basing out. We can see it happening. I'm just telling you, 2-hour divergences like to roll up the daily, so you do have the opportunity here for momentum to take back over and give you a positive trend. It's a point to pay attention, but you are far away from that positive territory. So we easily could do this, fade, right? We could do something like that and then go higher. So this is just a point maybe to be like, hey, if I want to scale into a position over time. 0.74. Yeah, Musk, that was when I was very critical of Elon Musk. He was going through some problems with his loans in China, and then he talked about Dogecoin, and then Dogecoin went to 0.74, like he said, probably. And then it sold off dramatically, and I went, there's Elon Musk selling it. I think he just sold all you. us, but I got out way before it hit 74. Wish I didn't. Think of that, 6 times 7, so like what, 56? No, 48. I could have made $48,000. 42,000. God, my math is so screwed right now. Yeah, I could have made $42,000 off of $100 with that big move if I would have held. Isn't that crazy? So with Dogecoin, I had the potential to turn $100 into $42,000. But I only turned it into $6,000. Still a great return. Now my brother actually held it longer, and his actually was worth about 40 grand because I told him to do it too. We just did it for fun, and he did it, and he had it up to about 40 grand, and he thought it was going to make him like $1 million, and then he ended up taking about 10 grand or something like that. I was telling him, hey, you got 40 grand right now, dude. You turned like $100 into 40 grand. Come on. But I didn't hold that long. I thought that it was going to be a pump and dump. It ended up being one. It just pumped higher than what I thought. I thought 20 cents or whatever was going to be it, or 10, or was it 12? I think I sold it like 16, 15 cents actually. So, but no, I ain't mad about it. That was a good month. You bet your ass I might have went to Vegas after that. Off $100. Yes, literally $100. Imagine taking $100 and turning it into 20 grand. I've done that with options before. I've taken $500 and turned it into 20 grand testing a strategy, and I was like, holy crap, this strategy's good. And then I kept doing it, found the problems with it, and then I put out a course about it. So that's what's in the course. Learn about the indicators, but you also get a strategy in a bear market that literally prints money if you're very, diligent with it and you follow your risk management and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we were getting at with that's what we were getting at with Manon. Manon saying, I kind of have this problem where whatever I buy ends up going down. Well, then you just need to switch up your stuff a little bit, stay risk managed, or not really that. More Manon was talking about, yeah, it's harder to sell, right? Harder to sell than it is to buy. Well, it's because you're excited about buying, and when you make money, even you're probably like, oh, how high could this go in your head? But all I started doing was, I still get that feeling, but I just go, ooh, 100%. I really like that return for this trade. This specific trade is 100%. Okay, I'm going to take profit. Then you go black 17. Yeah, greed's rough. We're seeing Apple start to make that upward move again. We'll have to see. Look at that. Okay, so now you got that green bar again down here on the 2-hour. You're really close to positive territory. That's really why I'm saying this could explode. You've been hovering at it for a long time. Hovering. Boom. What if that move happens just to like 172 or something like that? I'm down $400. I'm not tripping about it. Hey, as long as you know your strategy. I mean, I've been down. There's been times where my trade, I've scaled into position while down like, my first or second scaling. I've been down like, what, $1,500, $2,000. And I go, hey, this still looks good. And then literally like 2 days later, I'm up that amount and then I'm out. So it's just about knowing your limits, knowing your strategy to a T, knowing the structure, and reacting based on the structure if you're scaling in and things like that. At least that's how I see it. Use that excited emotion as a sell trigger. That's actually not a bad point, Stu. That's not a bad point. Anytime you're like, holy crap, this is awesome, make it stay awesome by selling. Yeah, as long as you know your strategy, and just at some point, though, if it keeps going down, you have to be like, okay, got to cut the cord, wait a moment. Especially with my strategy, it actually allows you to be like, okay, sell, 30-minute cross sell. Okay, now 30-minute cross back up. All right, I have divergence. Buy. All right, 30-minute divergence is crossing back down. Maybe I create a triple, I sell. All right, now I'm buying back in. That actually confirmed, and then I'm close to positive territory. My goal is to make 500 and let that compound throughout the year. Hey, that's a good way to start. Now, one thing that I was discussing with a friend of mine was like, say you don't really want to watch the market or anything like that, and you just want to learn the basics in order to take like no positions when to get in. And I was like, well, you can pretty much just say whenever this MACD crosses on the monthly, I'm going to place a buy, or something like that, or even on the weekly or something like that. You could just do like, hey, whenever it's negative and I want to place a buy. Well, wait till it goes negative, then crosses up. Okay, I buy here, sells off, I buy here. And in between that time, you just stack like $200 a month, $200 a month. Okay, by this month, maybe you have $1,000. Okay, boom, now I'm in. You don't sell. You're just like, okay, now I save $200 a month, $200 a month. Now I have an extra $400. I get in. And guess what? You would have been in this move. So that's longer term how I would invest if I was, working and not able to watch charts all day. And then what do you do? Well, I would say if you see crossing over in very overextended or see some kind of divergence like that, now you have that skill as well. If you take the course, you can look for things like this and now say, hey, I'm out. Look at that weekly crossing over on the Qs. That's confirming divergence at this point. So this week is very, very important. We're probably going to talk about this on Saturday. Actually, it crossed last week. So this here, crossing down, well, now you have that potential for the momentum to flip the other way with some divergences up here, right? So good to look at the Qs to get that perspective. So what the weekly momentum's telling you is it needs some kind of pullback down. So if we pulled back down, where would we go? Well, maybe we go to that monthly expected move. But we're trading in the real time, right? So we have to see if this 2-hour curls up positive territory, we're going to see a positive move. First comes the laughs, then the tears. Oh, there you go, Georgie. That's not a bad idea either. I did not play the memes. I guess my meme play was technically Doge. No, I didn't play the meme stuff. I didn't want to get caught up in it or anything like that. And the meme people are back, right? They're saying AMC can go to $100 again, and I'm like, no, I don't think the market makers let that happen twice. Or if it gets to $100, they're going to be a part of it. Goal is to do it full time in a year or so. Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck. It seems like you're doing well. If you just keep with the same strategy. It's a lot about consistency too. Just being very consistent with your trades, with your risk management, all of that good stuff. Look, Apple's starting to curl up, positive territory. I was out of TLT, and this thing really ripping to the downside. So look at my risk management allowed me to get out of this position, right? I had the stop. And then now I can look for something else and say, well, volatility looked like it was going to cross back down on this 2-hour. Now it's popping up, but Apple's showing me some signs it wants to pop higher. I can look at the daily to see if I see a drop. Am I going to hurt that bad? Probably not. Take this a few weeks out, see if I get some kind of big pop, make some money back from that loss in TLT this morning, which was just it is a small loss again. I think it was like 12%, maybe 10%. I always try that. I always say that again. Not of my whole portfolio. If I lose 10 or 12% of my entire portfolio in one day, I would be fucking pissed. Wow, that's the first time I've said the F word on the stream. Hey, we cussed on the stream. Hey man, hope you're fine. Can we do a breakdown on NVIDIA? Yeah, we can go look at NVIDIA. This thing just kind of stair-stepping up, able to cross. Look for this 2-hour to go positive. That is going to be big news. You already have the RSI crossed on the center line. That is a bullish sign. If you are a swing trader, even on a 2-hour right now, you would be in this move. You actually would have been in this move right at this tiny bar right here. Might have convinced you to get in if you needed more confirmation. This bar right here, around that 869.50 level. And now you see the flagging starting to head up. If that can go positive, the RSI already is. So we could see this get to an overbought territory. Maybe we target the top side weekly expected move for this one. So as high as NVIDIA could go, I'd say that somewhere around 930 looks pretty good for this week. If we see that big strength come in, 930 is where I'd be targeting. I've been playing my Beat Saber a lot lately since we talked about it. I'm not nearly as good as I used to be. Will an intraday trend affect the larger time frames trend, as sometimes I find out that a smaller time frame is not synchronized with larger? No, the larger time frame right now is telling you on the Qs the momentum here is dead, right? It's telling you on the weekly, it's saying, hey, we're crossing down on the MACD. The momentum has slowed down. We most likely will experience a pullback, if not some kind of trend reversal, because we have divergences. So as of right now, the Q's weekly is telling you, hey, this needs to pull back further down to the 50, which is lying right around here, actually. The 50 is going to be right around here if that happens. And but the shorter time frames, like the 30-minute, is saying, hey, what if I go positive here? What if I go positive here? Apple telling you, what if I go positive here on this 30-minute? I got all kinds of divergences at this. AMD, what if I go positive? I got divergence here. I got divergence on the 2-hour across this. Meta, even Meta, this thing curling down negative territory, but it's still positive at this moment. So until that curls down, we can't really say much. We can't say these lows will be tested. Microsoft, this one's trying to go positive as well on the 30 minutes. So the shorter time frames are telling you positivity is here to be had. Google, watch out, because this could be a pop and drop. This is one that if Apple explodes, I'm going to look at Google, guys. So if Apple goes higher and I make some good money on that, I'm literally going to take all that money and I'm going to put it right into a Google short for the next month. When you trade MACD, do you look at the 9.5 chart or the one that includes PE and aftermarket also? I'm mainly just looking at the 9 to 5 chart. I'm mainly looking at the 9 to 5 chart. If you want to be cheeky with it, ones that you can get hints from that aren't 9 to 5, VIX, you can get some hints from VIX, you can get some hints from the 10-year yield, and then you can get some hints from the dollar as well. So the dollar up in this area, not on a 30-minute. You don't want to do 30-minute on ones like this. You want to look at 2 hours, 4 hours, kind of like Bitcoin. This is starting to rip higher. It's about to hit my target. Look at that. It's about to hit 105.65. I've had that target up for a very long time, just where I measured out the dollar could go in this run. Now, once we hit that level, what if that just starts to drop off and we see a bullish move? Dollar actually creeping higher as the market is actually starting to drop, so that correlation may be coming into play here. Swing trading, I highly encourage you. I swing traded. My whole beginning of my career was swing trading. I would highly encourage you to just look at a daily, look for something that is trending up, or you can do it on the way down. It's just most of the time, stocks go up most of the time, just to let you know. So I would just pick a favorite stock, something that's above the 200. You can even look at something like NVIDIA. Well, a swing trader would be buying here. Just want to make that very clear. You have an RSI above the center line. You have this. If it closes above both these moving averages, that is a swing trader's kind of trigger to buy. And then the point where you can hold it longer is if you see this MACD cross up. Well, if that MACD crosses up, boom, something like that can take place. And then you end up somewhere towards 1100. So this is kind of what a swing trader does. Now, the point where a swing trader would really love to get into this move was if they did it diligently. Well, they'd be in, out, in, out. So maybe they would have been in back at this bar right here around 491. Your out was probably something around this level here, this level right here. You get out at 692. Solid return there if you're just investing in it, even solid return over time there. And then this is where it gets a little sketchy, right? You're getting that close above. You're already at this area here. So a swing trader might ignore all of this. Honestly, they might ignore all of that, and then they'd wait for their next opportunity. seeing this one here closing above the moving averages. Price is tight. If this crosses up, you're going to see a big move. So Nvidia not looking horrible at this moment. Is Nvidia bullish? Well, you tell me. What's it look like? Has it broken down below the 50? No. Right now it's in a short term, like the shorter time frames, negative trend. But right, I mean, you're pretty much just like, hey, there's the 50. Swing trader would say this is going up. Right here. Well, who's the guy? Who's the guy that you guys watch? Who do you probably watch? That's a swing trader. Johnny Bravo. You guys probably watch Johnny Bravo, right? He would be probably saying that Nvidia is going to make its next move higher with this. You're above the 200 now. He would probably. I think he's a big guy on having the MACD closer to crossing or something like that. But he's probably going to say like, oh, Nvidia. He's going to say, the economy doesn't match the stock market. The economy's horrible, but stocks go up. Nvidia goes up because it closed up on here. I actually don't think Jay Bravo's bad. He's a little, I mean, political. I don't know if he's that political, honestly. He's just showing articles most of the time. I don't watch him diligently. I used to watch him when I was first starting out, but not necessarily anymore too much. Oh, he hates Janet Yellen now? Yeah, he's probably talking about how Janet Yellen is, and that's something that people don't realize as well. Like, I talk about the Fed being bad all the time, but Janet Yellen's the one ruining the bond market, right? She's actually, if you want to say anything, Janet Yellen's probably more of the money pumper, the debt pumper, not money. Sorry, that's not money. But, yeah, I think it's more like, Janet Yellen's actually the money printer, not necessarily the Fed, but I bet he would argue that. He is in the billions in net worth. Damn, he's in the billions in net worth, and he's still doing YouTube? Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if I had $1 billion, I'd probably still do YouTube for fun, but I would probably not do it every day. I'd probably make like 3 videos a week. I've been in Kansas. Do you think we have beaches here? We don't, okay? I'm going to the beach like every month if I have $1 billion. But yeah, this is if you're looking for that slight swing trade, Apple might be going for it. 0.87, look at that, curling up. See, now this one's below the 200, all right? So do you want to know a swing trader below the 200, what do they do? Well, you'll see it's wonkier price action, first of all, a lot of the time. But once you go below the 200, boom, here's your trigger to sell, to buy the downside here. You could have been in this move just as a swing trader. You kind of see, well, you'd more likely be, once this 200 crosses, you could do this, play that downside. Probably you would have liked some kind of retest and then you play it. But right here, you know, once you see this firmly crossing, you didn't get it to cross on the MACD, so a little difficult there. But I would say, what did I do? What did I swing trade with? I swing traded with a 4-hour and a daily. Those were the only ones I looked at. If I had $1 billion and I still had Patreon going, I would not let you guys waste your money, and I would still give you guys the weekly ranges. Do you think Netflix could go up? This one's pretty tight in here. It's been tight for a while. Looks a little bit like Amazon and Meta, honestly. I would just pay attention to my 2-hour rolling up positive territory. One thing you can do for little triggers like this is if this RSI can get a strong move to confirm above the center line here, then afterwards you can see, you know, that MACD cross, but maybe use the RSI to get an entry, and then you see the MACD cross and you're confident to hold it. I'd just be careful. You're having a lot of trouble breaking through this trend here between these highs, right? We're even falling short of it. That could mean tapering, right? So we might not even go touch that trend line because we just tapered a little bit. So you might want to do this and say, well, Netflix can move up to here, 640 maybe, something like that. But I would really, really wait for the 2-hour to cross. 30-minute, you see that about to curl down. So you have to be open to multiple things at the same time. And this just tells me, well, if this just wants to flag out, this is a false break. Now we start to move down. It's going to cross on this MACD. Maybe we react down to this support down here at 600-ish. and then we start to see that go up with some kind of divergence. I would wait for a better setup, or at least the 2 hour to show you some strength. You're not seeing that strength as of right now. Apple almost up 1% now. Solid. Is that Boeing? I talked to a guy about Boeing actually the other day. So I actually know someone who is very high up in Boeing, like one of the top, like literally top 3 people in the company. And his son is one of my best friends actually. He doesn't work there anymore. He left. He's with like Spirit or something. How long have you been trading? Technically I've been trading since I was like 20 years old, so that'd be about almost 12 years. But back then I was fundamental. I went away from it for a couple years, but I still like kept my eye on things. And then once my business went under because of COVID, I started to take TA very seriously, and I was obsessed with it. I literally was pretty much locked in a basement for like a year and a half, just studying TA and forming my strategies and doing all that good stuff. And then the bear market hit, and you kind of have to do it all over again. I learned swing trading to a T. It went very well during a bullish market. Then it doesn't necessarily work as well in a bear market. So I just had to pay attention to a lot more things. I had to get good at a lot more things. A bear market is much harder to trade in than a bull market, but you can make really good money in a bear market. You get big swings. So for a trader, a bear market is like a dream. But yeah, if you didn't know, I lost a bunch of money when I was 20 doing a fundamental side. It pissed me off, and I did really just kept my eye on stocks, but didn't really trade them too much. And then once things went wrong, I went, I still love this kind of stuff. Let me give it a whirl. I had some bad things happen in my life, and really technical analysis, charts, all this stuff kind of saved me a little bit. So if I didn't do that, I might not even be here right now. How many indicators? I am a very simple trader. I use MACD, RSI, sometimes Bollinger Bands, and moving averages. And then I look for patterns. I look for divergences. That's how I do it. I love bear markets. See, if you're a good trader, you're going to be like, ooh, bear markets sound great. Now, one thing I would say about Boeing here, I know we just asked about Boeing, and I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but triple divergence down here. Triple divergence on Boeing. This could be important. Now, you are below the 200, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But the last time you had a divergence at all down here, look at that run up. So you would say if you reject off that 200, Boeing's another example of, a swing trader might be doing stuff with this, right? Let's see. Close below the 200. Maybe this wonky price action, you kind of are like, but builds up, about to cross on the MACD. You see that closing bar below. Maybe you take it around this area. There's room to the downside. Boom. That would be a swing trade there. Bollinger Bands are tight too, so you expected those to spread out here. That's what I would say if you're swing trading to the downside. I don't like to swing trade too much to the downside, though. Story has inspired me to be a better trader. Thanks, man. Yeah, you bet. Just know, like, I think I said this to someone through an email, but it's just like, if you can push yourself to keep going, take the losses in stride, and really learn risk management so those losses don't hurt you too much, and then you get down the mental side of things, you'll be good. Like, you'll be good. If you can learn risk management, first of all, it's probably like, 60% of the market doesn't even manage their risk. They just go, oh, stocks go up. So if you're someone who can manage that risk in your trades and then, be consistent and then just push forward, always continue learning, you will be good. Like, you really will. It's just if you can do it for a long time, right? You're not going to be good in the first 6 months, right? You're going to be good after maybe a year of sticking to your strategy, being consistent, and working with your risk management. Did you start a family before COVID? No, I just had my first baby girl. Nope. I had my first baby girl. Sorry, ladies. Now I'm off the market. I know I'm off the market. Sorry about that. But now I got 2 ladies. Just one of them's small and one of them's very, very, very small. And I can, I could technically hold both of them in my arms, but, because Danny's only like 4'11". You guys didn't know, my wife's real short. But she's tatted. She's got tats. I did see one Johnny Bravo video, by the way, where like, is his wife in the videos now? I've never seen that. But she has like some emoji face or something, and it's just her like, yeah. Ladies are the best. They take care of me. Well, I take care of Ari, but Danny, she takes care of me. Like I woke up late because Ari was a little bit screaming last night, so I woke up a little late. And what did I wake up to? Well, I woke up to her making me coffee, bringing me coffee, having it at my desk for when I sit down. I just had to watch Ari for a second while she got ready so she could go to Abuela's. It's like, that's awesome. That thing is massive. Jay Bravo's probably doing well for himself. I'm guessing that. Some of the times when I see him, he's in these like suites in Vegas or something, and I'm just like, damn. Oh, Happy Friday was talking about Jay Bravo's wife. And it's fine if you want to say she's hot, it's funny, but wish my lady knew how to cook. Sucks having worked in restaurants and having a girl that can't cook. Oh, well, tell her to, encourage her to do. Here's what you do. You want your girl to get good at cooking? Suggest that you and her do some cooking things together. You got to try to get her into it. Get that hobby going. My girl loves to cook now. I've blown up 2 accounts in the past, once before family, once after family. The one after family was crushing, but the family helped me bounce back stronger and work harder. Yeah, and I would just really, Mike, I would say really make sure that you write down your biggest mistakes when you blew up that account and do not do those things. Just have like a little billboard or something. I literally had when I was trading back in like years ago, and I was just starting out my strategies, testing them, and then trying them out for the first time with real money and things like that. I literally had a board, and it would tell me the exact things to look for in the trade. If I did not see those things, I did not take the trade. I had a whiteboard. It would tell me what stocks I'm looking at, and then it would tell me what is going on with those stocks right now that I'm paying attention to. And then I would say, make sure you have these 3 things at least checked off in order to take the trade. And that's how I did it, and it helped me a lot. It kept me honest. And yeah, Georgie, I mean, people can be funky and weird and have a lot of money. I mean, you don't have to be some, super genius to trade stocks. You just have to be consistent, risk managed, and that's really it. You just have to stick to your strategy to a T, risk managed, probably know about the indicators and stuff like that. So good to take a course. We have one down in the description. Exactly, got to make it exciting. Gets the spark going. Met my wife at 15 years old. We have 18 years and counting today. Hey, congrats, Brian. I'm not there yet. Not even close. Or trading without money for half a year. Yeah, you literally can do that. You can back test your strategy, but back testing, you're going to convince yourself like, oh, it takes the emotion out of it. You want to almost, something that I did that was different from trading with no money just to get the emotion involved was I literally just would, I had money to the side. I would trade with small amounts just to get that emotional side going, making sure I'm buying when I'm supposed to be and things like that. Did you analyze economic data before start a swing trade? No, I didn't. Nope. I did not look. Nope. If you guys know my history, I got screwed out. When I was 20, I saved up like $6,000 $6,000 or something like that. And all the fundamentals told me Zillow was supposed to have a good earnings. They had a horrible earnings, and I lost almost all of it. I think I was left with $2,000 or $1,500. So fundamentals have put a real stinker for me. I think the important fundamentals you need to pay attention to are what's going on with the overall economy. Like you need to know how stocks are going to react to a bad CPI report. Things like that would be better to learn than just trying to follow something to a T. Because most of the time when that news comes out, the move's already happened and TA is already telling you it. It's like this. Look at Apple right now getting this breakout. If this thing goes positive, what do you think? Do you guys think we get a random piece of news about Apple giving some good news tomorrow? Probably. Like I'm being genuine about that. There's so many times where the technicals have like called points where good news comes out. I follow TA to the T. I follow it to a T, and I'm risk managed, and I'm paying attention to fundamentals. Yeah, that's kind of it, Chang. You got to accept that you could be wrong. And James, that's kind of it, right? But when I swing trade, when I was swing trading, you have to look at the environment as of right now. As of right now, it looks like we might be experiencing maybe a blow off top and then this is all over. Is it the best time to swing trade? Well, maybe. Depends on how long this thing lasts. Nike is going down $1 today. I thought they had a upgrade. And control your emotions. I was consistently overexposed. I know, shocker. Yeah, you'll do that a lot. I did that once, even with my strategy, right? My strategy works, I think, 85% of the time when I back tested it and after I did it with my own money, the strategy that I put in the course down below. But something that I noticed was I didn't have to do a bunch of money to start. I didn't have to. Like, to really get that first position, you only need, like, what, few $100? Few $100, take that position, double it. Guess what? Now you have $600 that you can kind of trade with. All right, cool. Now, and maybe you're not dipping into the rest of your $10,000 is what I'm talking about. And then you just build that slowly over time. Imagine if you just made $500 a week extra or $500 a month extra, kind of like what whoever was saying they're trying to make $500 a month and just kind of add in. What if you just did that for, I don't know, 5 years? See, 60 times 5, you'd have like $30,000. Apple just came out with news. Uh-oh, is it bad? Why Apple doubters might be getting the stock wrong again, according to Bank of America. What's the good news? Is that your whiteboard strategy in that course that you used? Yep. That was my whiteboard. That was when I had to bear market. I really wanted to be like, I need these to happen. Swing trading, you really only need a few things to happen. RSI above the center line, MACD crosses above the, I would say, I actually do agree with Johnny Bravo on a 9-day moving averages when you're using a 9 smoothing for your MACD. Very, very good. Very, very good to switch. This is a 5. Very good to switch it to a 9. The 9 worked for me really, really well. I literally switched it because back then I watched his video like twice and saw he was using a 9, and then I started using it and I was like, oh, this has some validity to it. This has some credit. Very few people have the mindset, being honest, and that's true. It's very hard to get the mindset. You literally have to go against your emotion almost like multiple times throughout the week, and it's difficult. Since you're getting closer to earnings for big stocks, do you recommend load up for long term or wait for earnings? I don't trade around earnings. Usually you'll see me kind of like back off around earnings, especially, even more so than data drops. Earnings is something that I've stayed away from ever since that Zillow loss. So, Mike, thanks for joining us. I appreciate the subscription. He loves the 90 MA and the 200, and I'd agree with him from a swing trading perspective. Apple's AI upgrade cycle to be driven by iPhone 17. Analyst outlines 3 reasons why. Ooh. Well, we'll see if this thing can catch a bid. Word, a couple grand a day from a quick move in and out beats any week of working. Very, very true, Stoof. Very, very true. No, you're still working. You're still going against your emotions. You're still staying consistent. You're still risk managed. Those things are very hard to do. If they weren't hard to do, then you pretty much, everyone would be good traders, right? So those are the areas that are hard to do. Actually, the easier side is knowing the setups. The harder side is knowing when to get out of positions. A lot of people don't get out of this. If it goes like this, people will go, oh, Apple's going to 200. No, I'm a trader. I like that trade. I like that trade. Bought with $100, sell at 250. Cool. Apple ID going to let you use parts for repairs. It's the lightning bolt under the last bar. EMA or MA9 for Bravo. I don't know what he uses. I use a simple moving average. I use an SMA for my 9. Actually, is Johnny Bravo... Because I watched him years ago. Johnny Bravo's who I got this indicator from. I paused his video and found this indicator. These moving averages. So this right here is what Johnny Bravo uses. But obviously you switch this to a 200. So, wow, that just kind of clicked for me. Interesting. It's crazy how the world works. Some say we're not working. Well, I am. Hey, I'm working a lot. I'm trading. I work for a startup. And I'm also live with you guys and making YouTube videos. He is not worth billions. That is a different J Bravo. I looked it up, but he is worth 3.7 million. Hey, 3.7 million is good. Topside Apple target. Don't really have one for today. I would say I'm expecting an explosive move. If we come up towards this gap fill, I'll definitely be thinking about getting out of that position. 173.36. That is all you need. Like, that's the good part about my strategy. This is all you need. Like a 3 to 4 point move. You just doubled your money on that trade. You don't even care. Boom. Double. Done. Now, this isn't my strategy to a T, right? Because we're not above 20 on the VIX. If you've taken the course, we talk about volatility. You want that to be a little bit higher for that strategy. So you might see me get out of this even a little bit earlier if I start to see things fade. But also, it's a bullish market still, too, because the volatility is below 6. So this could be an entry point for a longer-term push, maybe to get up into this area, 178, something like that. Calls it the Bravo 9. The only thing I don't like that a lot of these YouTubers do is they release their own indicators. Just so you guys know, when a place releases its own indicators, it's literally calculating the MACD and most likely calculating the RSI. You could literally just do this stuff for free by just getting good at these. That's normally what's happening. If you want the, I don't know, the 9 count sell signal, you can literally just look up 9 count sell signal. It'll start to count the bars for you. Like, that's the only thing I don't agree with. I don't think I'll ever put out an indicator or anything because this is literally what I use to trade. This is what I use to trade. So and most of those indicators just they use these two and just calculate them and make them look flashy, put them in different colors. Nvidia, what's Nvidia up to? Apple's still looking pretty good here. Let's look at that position. We took that a second ago, so let's see how that thing's doing. Oh, 6%. We're up 6% on Apple. Not the best. We need more than that. But Nvidia, curling up. Positive territory to be had. Will this daily be able to curl up? I'm more interested in AMD if this sees a strong move. Look at that 2-hour crossing. Oh, if it can get past this, you're going to go test the next point of liquidity up in here. Maybe you do get that reaction up. Then you got to see from here, does it fail? So if you're in this for tomorrow, I think that anywhere in this liquidity zone would be a good sell zone. You don't want this to go like, boom, create another divergence and then go again, and you're just ruined by that. So I would say if it touches anywhere in this area, you might want to think about taking some off the table there. At least taking maybe half off the table at this area. Meta still not looking the strongest. Amazon starting to buy back up. Remember, this 30-minute was going to cross up. It's positive, so we can see an upward move. We're going to start to look at weekly ranges at the end of this week. If Amazon heads up towards 191, I'm going to be really paying attention to some kind of drop. AMD, this is some interesting that we have wicks on all these. I thought it would be just strength going forward. Yeah, the 2 hour looks pretty good though. So we'll see if we can find something to bounce here, like a more sustainable bounce. Apple's still holding above that trend line. That's a good sign. It's easy money, right? You can't really fault them for monetizing almost every aspect of what they're good at. Hey, that's fair. If they can market themselves to sell something like that, that's perfectly fine with me. TV is still in beta, adds volume to your candle. Interesting. Was that someone was mentioning that, I think. SMCI. Nvidia looks good. That's all I can really say. It looks good. Obviously, I have no idea if it's going to just boom tomorrow. I'd say momentum is still good. You're in a positive trend. Cross up on the daily. You can see positive move for the next week. Now, this is seeing a good move. SMCI seeing a pretty good move here. On the 2 hour chart, just seeing that curl back up. Pay attention. We still got some trends in here, right? We have a trend right here. See if it breaks through. But SMCI telling you, hey, I kind of recovered. I'm at the 50. I'm ready to bounce again. Guess what? I'm towards the center line. Boom. Swing trader, right? We were talking about swing trader. Technically, I would use a 9, though. I did like my 9 for swing trading. But if you want to get in earlier, use the 5. Well, swing trader would say, hey, there's my pullback. Here's my bounce. Now, if I curl up on this MACD, I can hold it. RSI gets above 50 first, maybe, or above 50 first. Maybe we want that to happen first. Get above the 20. You get above the 20 here, it's looking pretty good. CPI is affecting the market very negatively, right? We're seeing this happen, which puts banks under a lot of pressure. Okay, banks are under, once you cross this line, banks start to go really under pressure. Once you cross this line, it's like, okay, banks might fail. So be open to black swans for the next couple of months if this remains up here, because, you know, banks are going to start to fail most likely at these areas, especially if we see this go higher, like 5%, something like that. That would be nuts. But that's overall what it's saying. It's TLT, and even the FOMC minutes coming out and saying, we're still doing 3 rate cuts. TLT's not buying it. TLT's not buying it. They're saying CPI is hot. It is way too hot. It is still hot. Hot, 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 hot. So they're saying, no, we got to have those yields higher. So this is overall what I think is Jerome Powell not willing to do the job. Bond market's going to do the job for him. Get rid of inflation themselves. Oh, God, Willow every day. Every day you got to learn about DJT. Now, PPI I actually think was good news today. Remember, I was saying yesterday, I was like, you guys, you know, PPI, you would think CPI is hotter last month. PPI was really hot last month. Okay, so PPI is going to be hot again as CPI was hot again. It makes sense, but we know the numbers are cooked. And even if that is a real print, we still have to pay attention to the number. So I wasn't banking on any kind of dramatic downside today. I was like, you know, there's still potential for this to be good, because that's what I would do. If they let the CPI come out and that's a real number and that reaction happened, they'd be like, oh shit, let's change PPI. Now, I don't know if that's really what's going on, right? I just react to the data we get. That's what we have to do. We can't react to data we didn't get. We have to react to the data we do get. Let's go look at DJT. I'm down for that. That sounds like fun. Oh, God. Remember, we told you up right here that thing's probably going to come down if it crosses through dramatically, come down, crosses through again, 200 below us. So, swing trader dream right here if, and we had divergence as well. Remember that. We had divergence up here as well. Damn, I should have shorted this. Why didn't I short it? Oh, earnings. That's why I didn't. Did that earnings even come out? Why is it gray? That's weird. But yeah, this beats down. Well, guess what? A swing trader would say if this reacts off the 200 and crosses back above some moving averages here, could see another run. You could say that. So you really just want to see if it's able to hold up at the 200. Maybe you want to go into a 2 hour or something like that. Look for some divergences. You don't have any. You literally don't have any. There's not a lot of TA to do here besides maybe a swing trade type deal. Now you do have these big 30-minute divergences that are leading you closer and closer to going into a positive trend. I would say that's something to look at. You have divergences on MACD and RSI at the same time. coming up into a big support level. If you flush from here, well, you're going to drop down to $23.50. Flush from there, you're going down to $16. So this, you really got to hold up right here. So if you believe in this and you do some more research and you want to invest in this for a little bit longer, I mean, this is a point to scale in. If I had weekly ranges, we could talk about this more. Maybe we should get weekly ranges for DJT. Oh, yeah. So some crossings like that. Yeah, I do use it with the cross. Yeah, so that would be something I pay attention to more on the SPY on the daily, right? So the crossings of the MACD, no, I'm sorry, the crossing of the 5 against the 20 here. So when that does happen, you have like a 90% chance to test bottom Bollinger. But notice this, what did we do? We're turning up now. We didn't get that to cross. So I was worried about that crossing today, and now we're kind of doing this. So if that would have crossed, well, then you're probably going to go test this 50 real quick. You might even ride that 5 down. But as of right now, it's kind of rejecting. At least until the election. Hey, I mean, that's what I'm saying too. This could just keep going until, like, October. That initial assessment was like, hey, I think in October we start to see weakness. I know November is after October, but in October I was like, I feel like October, that's what I was saying, this October, when we were getting the breakout to the upside, we called the bottom using Apple. We were like, we're probably going to go to all-time highs. I wanted more structure in the move throughout, but I still swing trade the way up. Like setting your take profit price and stop loss. If you guys know something about me, when I trade, I more look at how much the trade is making and where the stock is at versus hitting a target or anything like that. But I would say, like, if I was swing trading without how I used to swing trade, I used to like to make like 10% off Apple. But also there are exits and entries. So like an exit would be once you hit top Bollinger or something like that, could be an exit. So that's what I did sometimes. Like if I see a big run like this, we hit top Bollinger, I'm out, right? And I'll just be very, very patient, right? Very patient. And you can even take these little swing trades up if you'd like. But most of the time I'm very patient. I made great money off of this, right? How much percent is this? If you got into this, well, we cross above the 200 here. So maybe something like this is what I did. Well, 7% in 2 weeks. Well, if I swing trade this correctly with an options play, I look at the structure down in here, I can find an entry for a month, see that head up, you're going to make plenty of money. You went from, if you go from 174 up to 186 in 2 weeks, and you take a play, say even at, maybe you bought the 175, 179 call or 180 call. Well, now you're up here. 186 looks pretty damn good. And then you still had 2 months left in that option, so, or 2 weeks left in that option. So your value is going to be really high. So managing swing trade, though, is pretty simple. If you see it cross back below, that's usually when you get out. So at least that's what, since we're talking about him, and he likes swing trades. We'll talk about Johnny Bravo. His strategy would tell you above the 200, this isn't a 9, but above the 200, above the 9, ride it till you see a breakdown. Here's your breakdown. So technically his strategy would say, hold it, get out. The only problem is sometimes you get price action like this, where it's like in, out, in, out, in, out. So what is swing trades? You're swinging momentum to the upside. So this is where we caught the bottom for the stock market back in October, right? This is where we were screaming and bearish people were yelling at me. We were going to experience a crash and all that good stuff, right? It's funny, like now I get yelled at by bulls. Back then I was getting yelled at by bears. So that's just something I'm going to have to deal with. But triple divergence down here. Okay, swing trader would say this goes positive above the 200, above my moving averages, above the 20 and the 5 here is where I would enter. Okay, now I can ride that up. That's all swing trading is. You're trading momentum. You see the momentum swing up. Okay, I'm going to go up with that momentum. Then you see that beat down to the center line. Well, what are you supposed to do? Well, it's apparently, if it swings down to the center line, retest of the 200, boom, you're technically in right here. Okay, 188.60. And then you would say, okay, now I'm out at 192.40 on this move. So you just want to be willing to take profit. Usually I like to do when I get towards the Bollinger, and I'll look at how much I've made. That's how I do things. I'm like, if I double on a position, I'm probably getting out. But I've tripled. I've actually 5 times on a TLT position before, and I thought that was crazy. But I wish I had like, 10, 20 grand behind it. I had like, I think I had like $2,000 behind a TLT trade once, and it like 5 times, and I was like, sick. And that was back when I only followed technicals to a T. I didn't even do much fundamental side, but something fundamental happened. I'm pretty sure I didn't even know, and there was like a CPI release one day, like years and years ago, and I was like, oh, sick. Yeah, when not to trade is important. So right now, not trading is important unless you're swinging downside, but you really haven't. I mean, if you did, you would say maybe this is your trigger, but swinging to the downside is a lot more difficult, in my opinion, because you're going to see more funky moves. Upside, you're like, oh, positive trend, bullish. So even during these little bounces here, you're above the 200, and a swing trader will play this, right? Get in, you're just above that moving average. Crosses up onto MACD. Okay, you want that to probably be positive, most likely, but, if you're good at it, you're above the 200. Boom, you see that move up. Maybe you're not shaken out by this guy here. You see, boom, that move up. All right, Bollinger, I'm out. Beat it down, beat it down. And then, now we're by that 200 again. Pioneer, boom, goes up. Top of the Bollinger, I'm out. Buy it in, top of the Bollinger, I'm out. That's kind of how a swing trader does things. He just plays off of momentum. QQQ crossed on the 2-hour? Down or up? Shit, guys. We're giving a swing trading lesson for rate. God, I should make a course. No, I'm just kidding. Pretty much, if you take my course and you understand the indicators, you can literally probably go look up a swing trading guy or just something like that, and you just take notes. You can figure it out. I like a 9 for swing trading. I like my MACD 12.26.9. Ooh, it hasn't curled up yet, has it? No, it's about to, though. Apple's starting to get some weakness off of that. That's interesting. Nvidia's still seeing that strength. AMD... Okay, it hasn't moved that much, guys. AMD hasn't moved that much. God, Google is screaming my momentum is dead. This is the worrisome thing. If I make some money today, I'm probably taking a big ass put hedge. There it goes. There. Come on. Come on. You can do it. I hope our values are the same. Is the VIX only a measure of volatility? I mean, technically, yeah. People use it like fear indication. Pretty much the VIX is measuring the calls a month out, and so right now that would be an indication of like, hey, down here people had a bunch of calls a month out. Pretty sure that's how I've studied it. That's how it works. But so if the VIX drops off, you can see bullishness come in because people have calls a month out. If it goes up, that means the fear is here and those calls are not being bought. So I use it as a fear indicator as well, instead of looking at fear and greed index or something. Yeah, this is pretty much your fear and greed index. I hope I have that right. I'm pretty sure it's calls a month out on the SPY. I don't know why I'm like blanking. How's everyone's day going now? Now that we're seeing some upward moves. Oh my gosh, that is looking pretty good, guys. If we can break through here. The only thing, you have your daily expected move above you. Ooh, a lot like there's a lot of resistance above us, but if we can break through, might not be the worst sign in the world. The only bad part is HYG still dropping off while the market's bouncing a little bit here, so take it with a grain of salt here. Any upward move, if you just see a difference between HYG and the market, that's not going to be a good sign. Apple curling up on that 2 hour though. Gotta go positive. How do you get involved in the stock market? Did you study or just read books or just learn on YouTube? I learned on YouTube. And then I made my own strategies for the most part. Besides swing trading, obviously. I've made my own strategies besides swing trading, but everyone swing trades, right? But maybe I do it a little differently. I don't know. Yeah, you learn a lot from YouTube, and then you go try to apply it, I would say with small amounts of money. The reason I just say, like, I'm not encouraging you to go blow money. I think there is value in, just almost like paper trading. I think there is value in practice. I'd be a hypocrite if I said there's no value in practicing when I did. But what I would just say is the moment where I got a lot better was when I let the emotional side there as well. So I used very small amounts of money, say $100 to $300. I wouldn't take options. I would just buy a stock and I would swing trade. I would buy a stock and I would test out my strategy. That way, some of the emotional side is there too. So I can go through the times where I'm like, oh, I'm making good money. This could go to 1,000. Hit the sell button. Things like that. So I think you get good practice, learn from YouTube, but also just like if you're obsessed with it and you're not willing to make mistakes and learn from them, you're going to be in trouble. And then risk management is important as well. But we go through a lot of this stuff on and mainly with our risk management, we're just talking about what percentage of your portfolio you should be using. If you have $10,000 and you're trying to do options with all $10,000, when that's a lot of money to you, probably not a good idea to do options with 10 grand. But if you have $10,000 and you want to do options, maybe use 1,000. So we go over a lot of that stuff. And then we go over how much of that 1,000 you should be applying towards a trade and that kind of thing. And it's exactly what I did when I started doing these strategies. It's exactly what I did. I ran needs to grow some balls. Cool, that's where I'm at. Yeah, and that course is good. I'm just going to tell you, the course is good, especially if we go into a bear market. Things looking a little crazy. Alan! Up 110% on my NVIDIA call, looking for weakness to get out. Trade like water. Let's go, Chris Coleman. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go look at that NVIDIA play. Up 2% right now. Not even 15-minute divergence at this point. Starting to violate that. So you would expect some consolidation once we hit this liquidity up here. Remember, we still get data tomorrow. We still get news tomorrow. We still get a lot of earnings tomorrow as well. So a lot of these pops, we have to just be like, hey, this is coming up into a point where we're most likely going to consolidate or drop off for AMD. Okay, cool. Apple, this one, coming up into a point where we're going to consolidate or drop off. So pay attention to this one. If that retest can happen quickly and then we see that move up. But you'd really like to see some more strength out of Apple with this as of right now. But the momentum is telling you there's potential for a good bounce here. It can. I mean, the auctions can. For the most part, you're just going to see TLT go down. You're just pretty much every auction I've seen in the last year has made TLT go down. Nobody wants to buy these bonds. O.J. Simpson died. Did we say RIP for that? I mean, all right. Let's ask that question. Did he do it? Yes or no? We won't talk about it long, but did he do it? Yes or no? I feel like I know the sentiment of my audience right now, and I feel like I know what you guys would say. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah. You think you had help? All right. Reasonable. We won't talk about it too much. YouTube might get mad at us. Love don't fit. Then later on went and stole trophies. I think there's information that's way fishy. Did the Bears hibernate this winter? Did the bear hibernate this winter? Well, bears right now are trying to take over, if that's what you're talking about. They're trying to take over, but bulls won't let them with these wicks. My theory is I have 80K invested in broader market, 10K in stocks, and I pick, and 1K I swing and day trade for fun. Then any profit in my day trading get rolled into actual stock positions. That's like perfect. Apex, that is like perfect. Like if everyone did something like that, it would be very, very good. Luke, 110%. Now you're saying for he did it, huh? I actually knew the Brown family went into Tanya knowing his sister a few times years after. In other news, South Korea is about to have a massive exit from the president down. Well, we'll have to see what's happening with the market today. So this actually is not green anymore, unfortunately. SPY seems weak. I would say I think people are waiting for some good news now. This would tell me that the news this week was not negative enough for us to crash down. That's what these wicks tell me. People are still willing to buy even with the news we got with CPI and PPI. PPI not that bad for the market, honestly. But they're looking for a piece of good news. What could that good news be? Well, we get bank earnings tomorrow. But funny that JP Morgan coming out talking a lot of smack, right? A lot of smack being talked about by JP Morgan, I think, on the stock market. And they produce earnings tomorrow. We'll have to see what comes of that. It's the Euro close. There you go. Yeah, Euro close, 10:30 here. Yeah, Mojoma. It just doesn't look the prettiest. We knew weakness was going to be here, but now you're in the struggle to bounce back up with some 30-minute divergences and things like that. And actually, I think you kind of got rid of this one. It's flat. You have it on the RSI, so you still have divergence here. The other thing to point out is once this picks a direction, we've kind of piled up in this area for a long time. We've piled up in this area for a little bit here, so we could see a big reaction. Yeah, that just hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. So pretty much the bonds here are saying we are going to have to keep the yield higher for longer, like even higher than where it's at right now. So that would mean that technically TLT is not a good investment right now, right? It's breaking through structure. This looks ugly. The weekly's rolling over. We could see TLT just go way down. The 10-year, this is going to rip to the upside. If they're going to leave it higher for longer, that means that TLT cannot like rip to the upside. Hamas says it doesn't have the 40 hostages that fit the criteria by Israel to start a ceasefire. And that was another news update from Willow International. Stay tuned, stay informed. Yeah, you would think it would be that way, but and now one thing to note, let's do this real quick. One thing to see here is you'll notice in history though, when we hit these lower levels, what happens over time? We end up seeing, especially like 2000, boom, you see big spikes in TLT. This is where maybe we have to cut, right? So once they cut, TLT will rip. People will start to buy down at these levels, and that will just rip, right? But now these might not have been times where you're cutting, but I'm just saying, look at these lower levels, 8250, boom, 8250, boom, and then the 200 there for the weekly chart here. So if we go back here and just look, are we retaking the 200? Not yet. So we most likely do have, well, with this crossing over on the MACD down here, maybe I'll get another point to buy some more bonds down at 8250. I still believe this is going to just rip once we cut, it's going to just rip. But till then, we have to say, hey, these yields might just keep going up. Dollar going up, about to hit my target, 105.65. We're almost there. That is do you think there will be a bounce back? I think there's potential, but the dollar keeps ripping. That is getting pretty scary. The dollar here, remember we've been talking about this for weeks now. Dollar just ripping. If this starts to spread out the Bollinger Band, it's crash territory. but this is about to go positive as well. So, like, you have all the crash signals here. VIX above the 200. You just don't have that 50 cross just yet, but that could happen as soon as next week. It really could if these yields just keep going and then we actually react how we're supposed to. The difference between TLT and the market, the difference between HYG and the market right now is the SPY is still trying to hold up a little bit. And actually, I mean, if we wanted to match where HYG is, we'd be like down here right now. So we have a huge difference between the SPY and HYG at this point. So pay attention because that difference can take over and we can see a huge flush. If people see that inflation is fully coming back in, it will scare a lot of people. And we'll go into a bear market. We love bear markets. Woo! And Apple, you got stopped out of Apple? To the upside? Oh, you were playing some downside maybe? Little bit of a longer stream today, right? Normally we get off by 10:30 or so. I thought we would hang out a little bit longer. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm playing that. Chang, which one? I talk way too much. Do you think that there will be a bounce back? I do think it is possible. You're seeing some 30-minute signals that say it's possible. You might even see it on an hourly chart. Well, hourly charts kind of saying RSI only. I would say this. Most likely, I'm going to tell you guys the most likely scenario based on like what I think. So this is my opinion of the most likely scenario at this point. My opinion. Okay? I think the most likely scenario is we get some kind of reaction up and we set up a lower high at this point. We do something like that. I really think that that's probably the move at this point because we're so far away on these MACDs on the hourly side. Yeah, the 30-minute can cross and we can see a positive move on the 30-minute, but look how much work the hourly has to do to go positive. It would literally need, what if we go like straight up like this, it still needs a full day's worth of positivity to go up. Now, if that would happen, I can change my thinking, but for now, shorting SPX. Okay. But for now, I pay attention to my signals. My 30-minute charts have been really good to me. Now, this is a very negative trend. We're still far away from that center line, so we could just get a pop, drop, pop again, right? So we want to be taking profit a little earlier in an environment like this. But what if this just tears to the upside? The 2-hour goes up, all that good stuff. Apple up 1% now. Look at that. 2-hour crossed. Boom. This looks good. So you see this one's closer to positive territory than that 30-minute, than that hourly I just showed you. So Apple looks good. I know it was tough. It was tough. It was tough. But if we're risk managed, boom, I'm out. Boom, I'm out. Boom, I'm out. Well, we never crossed through this low again. I'm back in. Here we go. Off to the races. Lose 10%, lose 10%, lose 10%, make 100%. Perfectly fine. And then guess what? My strategies are usually about 85, 80% correct. So at least in my history, I've been about a 75 to 85% trader. And this is one that I'm taking. I've experienced like 2 losses this week. So my things would say, hey, this trade's going to work out for me. Doesn't have to. I'm not going to get in that mental that it has to. I'm not necessarily going to put a stop in just yet. I'm going to see if this can go higher and then kind of readjust, maybe put a stop up here. But right now, if I closed below this level, I would be looking at it, looking at a 15-minute, looking at all that good stuff, seeing if there's divergence, anything like that to scale back in. But if it drops below this, I might be out and back in, right? Just lose another 10%, make 100%. Eventually, we're going to get a big move here. Just which way will that move go? Right now, it looks like it's going up. We're breaking a small little recent trend. See what happens with that. Damn, my dislocated shoulders. I've dislocated both now, and it is popping. I need to do rehab more often. Look out below, TLT. Look out below. Oh no. See, now you don't have that 2-hour divergence. There's no reason to be in this right now. Even the 30-minute, I wouldn't trust this right now. I mean, you have the divergence, and it could see a big reaction. I get that. But this one didn't work out for me. I just think Apple looks like a good play. Not the strongest move, but just as we go positive, now we're seeing some positivity. Disconnect emotions from the trade. Or just be emotional and hit the button, right? Write it down on your board. Be like, when I feel this emotion, I should look at selling. When I feel this emotion, I should look at buying. When do you put in stops? Yesterday, I was putting them in right away. Yesterday, I was putting him in right away. Where was yesterday when I got out of this? Maybe it was Wednesday I got out of this right here. The Wednesday stop was here. We didn't have it for Thursday. So Wednesday right here, I got out. Now I'm back in. And then TLT, my stops, I put in right away, right? So I had a stop down here. I got stopped out. I had a stop right here. I got stopped out. Now I'm saying, screw this thing, right? If I'm angry at the stock, right? I'm angry at the play. I'm not going to play it. Look at something else. Apple doing good. One guy has a heart monitor and he sells when his heart goes up. That's kind of sick. You like to see the pre-market chart, like extended hours? No, not necessarily, no. I'll look at futures and things like that. On the futures, treat a 2-hour like a 30-minute, treat a 4-hour like a 2-hour. That's what I've been doing. It works out. Apple seeing that strong move, finally. We could be stronger, though. We could be stronger, We could be stronger. I feel like we could. I'm just so excited for us to go actually into a bear market. Also, there is something I had to check on the courses here. Huh. That's so strange. Anyway. Pretty solid move from Apple. See if that wants to fade or nothing. Getting my losses back from holding. Hey, that's good. All right, well, I'm going to start to do my breakdown here. I'm going to look at the SPY right before we make some big moves here. 30-minute MACD, right? Giving you that divergence, getting that to cross. We really got to pay attention to this 2 hours still. I like my 2-hour crossing. See if that can go positive. As you are going deeper and deeper, you just have it on the RSI down here, right? This divergence here on the RSI, not necessarily on the MACD, right? So we would have to treat this as some kind of bounce to potentially give us a lower high. Okay, I would really pay attention to that this week. As we do go into a weekend, there could be things happening. Iran didn't even do anything just yet. So that stuff like that can really shake up the market. It can shake up TLT as well. So if they don't like the yields where they're at, maybe Iran helps them out and brings those yields back down. But I think this has potential to get some kind of lower high in this area. So I'd pay attention to that. The good part about this is we can maybe get a 30-minute divergence in this to tell us that's a lower high. We'll pay attention to that going forward. Qs, similar story, but this is able to curl up on this MACD. No divergence down here, but able to hold up higher with a lower high. This one looks a little different. This has the potential to go positive a little better. So you actually could see a big move out of some tech stocks here to come and test this level here. But you'd have to go positive for quite some time in order to actually take out this high up here. So pay attention if we do get some kind of lower high. If things start to add up, dailies start to cross over and things like that, we'll talk about more upside. Apple, 2-hour divergence is really bottled up right now, waiting for that really explosive move, I think. I think an explosive move is coming. Whether this is going to be a fake out just to build you up towards that center line and roll over, well, we can look at the 30-minute. If this is going to roll the other way on you, just pay attention to a 30-minute crossing down, negative territory. Maybe it sets up another point of divergence, but maybe it doesn't. So that's why you might want to be out of this move at this point, like if it curls back down, right? Curls back down on this MACD or crosses down on the RSI first before the crossing of the MACD, you can get out. And then if this just does this, you get back in. It's perfectly fine. So just be trading like water. I know it's getting a little difficult with this Apple trade right now, but you're starting to see some green with it. Tesla, this thing about to curl up, positive territory right above you for the 30 minutes. So Tesla looks like it wants to head higher here. You're seeing the RSI get above the center line here before the MACD crossing. Good sign that the MACD wants to cross here. Pay attention to that going forward. Oh, yeah, of course, Mike. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate you subscribing, Mike. Really, really do. Make sure if anyone else out there, if you're not subscribed and you're thinking about it, just give it a whirl for a little bit. You can always unsubscribe, right? If you don't like the way we do things here, that's perfectly fine. But we are here talking about stocks every single morning, trying to help out. That's the goal of this channel. Now, Amazon kind of telling you, hey, I could potentially set up some kind of divergence here. But right now, you'd have to say, what if this is a big cup? What gets a little handle and starts to head higher? What if that handle doesn't even come? We get some good news tomorrow. Pay attention to that going forward. The 2-hour for Amazon looks like it might curl up as well. So you could see some strength. Patreon, down link in the description for Patreon. We could see something like this take place, right? Where we test that topside range before the week is over. NVIDIA seeing some strength here, able to curl up. But notice this, still not positive yet. So potential for a lower high is here. So I would just be paying attention to. Well, I'd see where that 30 minutes at. Let's see where the 30 minutes at before we talk about this. So pay attention to the 30-minute, right? This thing likes to move back and forth. If we start to curl down into negative territory, you're going to maybe see this low tested or taken out. Now note that the weekly expected move was right here. So those weekly expected moves on Patreon are very useful. Imagine we just buy some calls here. Now that's not how I do things, but I know some people just will buy calls if it hits very early on in the week down in this area, and then they play the bounce to the middle of the range. Those people might actually be selling at this point. Shaheen, thank you for subscribing. But those people in the middle of the range here might start to sell that thing off. So that's how some people play it. They just take a call, play the middle of the range. Okay, done. That's how some people use those risk ranges. Not how I use them. I use them for bear markets most of the time and swing trades to the upside. If I see a beat down, it goes up. Now, one thing about AMD, you do have 30-minute divergence, and we know there's a 2-hour divergence here. The 30-minute has confirmed, just about to go positive, but now we're starting to see that resistance come in at a liquidity zone. So if that rolls back down, kind of be difficult to get out of this. This is a good divergence, though, very significant. So I would say the 2 hour is going to curl up. It is, and guess what? You have that divergence here as well. So at that point, you have a good divergence on the 2 hour, or pretty good divergence on the 2 hour, but a good divergence on the 30-minute, which means we could roll up this daily. So if this daily rolls up positive territory, if you want to be patient, treat this like a swing trader, well, you'd be looking for RSI to get above 50. You'd be looking for the MACD to cross most likely on this one. You're not crossing on the RSI just yet, so you need that strength. This could just be flagging still to head lower, so be a little cautious with this as you're below all the moving averages. Meta here. This thing, right, looks tapped out on the daily scale, right, giving you some steep divergence the other direction. So it's kind of like, who do you believe at this point? Do you believe the bullishness will continue? Or are you going to believe Meta saying, hey, eventually we're going to see some big weakness? There is potential for blow-off tops. Inflation is here, so we can get blow-off tops in some of this stuff. Amazon, looking for this if it makes a move higher. Well, those Bollinger Bands are real tight, okay? So you might see a move up, but will that just be ripped away really, really quickly? Well, you have earnings right around the corner, April 23rd. Be a little cautious if we see a run up or a run down before earnings. We'll pay attention to what stocks look like, but we don't like to trade around those earnings. Something I'm thinking with Microsoft, if it gets that move up, this one might be one that I play here because it might set up some divergences on these shorter time frames. Even the 2 hour, it looks wonky, right? It looks wonky, but it's holding up. So if we see that move higher, maybe we create that divergence all the way across here. But mostly I'm going to be paying attention to this daily divergence, right? If we get a quadruple divergence, doesn't this look like Apple's divergences before we got the signal to cross, right? This is exactly what we saw on Apple to see that curl up and get to all-time highs. for the actual stock market. So Apple told us that, Microsoft telling us the opposite right now. If that pushes up, quadruple divergence, very, very tight, big move coming for Microsoft. Google, similar story, right? Bollinger Band's a little more spread out, but Google seeing a good move before earnings. Okay, April 23rd again there. So we want to look 2 hour. Are we creating divergences? We are. So right now, Google's telling you, hey, this is as high as I can go. Even though some stuff looking bullish, today's a bounce. But remember that all this stuff that's at all-time highs is weakening in momentum, and everything else is looking weak to the downside, right? Negative trends on daily scales for AMD and things like that. So be careful with that. SMCI, solid bounce here. Not going to, say that it's not. I would just look at my 30-minute, very close to positive territory. Maybe this is all it has left in it in order to head lower at this point. If we start to definitively lose this 903.11, I would say, hey, we're going to take out this low and head lower. Just pay attention to that going forward. Something you got to pay attention to, TLT, right? It's getting that play. It could start to rocket to the upside. What if we're forced to cut because something is breaking and something has the potential to break? And that would be the banks are going to really struggle because we're above these lines. This is your yellow card, right? I'm a soccer player. So this is your yellow card. Warning, but not out yet. This is your red card. Now you're in red card territory and about to get a penalty kick that might make us score. I don't know how the analogy would go. But this thing just rocketing to the upside. Hard to bet against it. Even on the weekly scale, it looks strong. But we could see an event that really makes this thing come off very quickly. Volatility, this thing topping out though. So something like this, telling you a big wick here, but we're still above the 200. Notice we've been able to hold above the 200. What has that allowed to happen for volatility? Well, let's look. We've seen since this area here, we test the 200, we start going above it right here. Well, now this 50 is trickling up. If that crosses and you can use that as support and keep that crossed, that is a crash signal, and we very well might be getting that. And some stocks like Microsoft, Google, and all these other ones are telling you they're tapped out. So be very, very careful with that, all right? Be very careful going forward. The dollar heading up towards my price point, 105, right? 105.65 up here. So we could see that drop back off from this area. We could see that that's where resistance might come in. Not necessarily want to do too much technical on this, right? 4 hour just strong, but overbought. We could see some bullishness come in if that VIX really kind of, sees a pullback. That's what I would say. But just a time to be still trading like water. And that's how we're going to be, right? We knew this was coming. March, we said it would be trappy. Traps are kind of still here in April, but we've held a firm top on the SPY. Right, we've held a pretty firm top on the SPY. We knew this was topping at this point, right? We knew there's potential for some kind of top up here because look at these divergences getting you very close to negative territory. We even put out trade setups right before this big drop happened and people were able to do really well. So hopefully you guys were able to catch some of this stuff, but 2 hour triple top. Now we're seeing that fail back down. Do we get a reaction and does that set up a lower high? We'll talk about that when it happens, but right now you need this MACD to curl up. If it curls up, it's still close to positive territory, so I don't want to take it completely off the table. I'm just saying that on the hourly and things like that, it seems a little bit more difficult, but it can happen. 30-minute here. Once again, just make sure you know there is divergence here to head higher, which means that 2 hour could cross up. So we could go make new all-time highs. That would be very, very worrisome if we see new all-time highs while HYG drops off. When we trade crypto, I think AXL and OP could possibly get 40% pump as topping tail and then 60% dump after that. That's possible. I just don't like to look at those types of things, those little ones. I just pay attention to Bitcoin. You guys know I like my 4 hour stuff. And Bitcoin kind of confirming a little bit of a lower high at this point. So if that goes negative, it's going to be pretty bad for the overall stock market. But with that, guys, just keep trading like water. We will be just fine if we trade like water and we're really just being risk managed out there. So pay attention because we could see some upward moves in Apple and things like that. Apple up 1.1%. We could see that get as high as 175 this week. But do we think that happens? I think once we're at this area up here, this 172 area, I'll start to look for some downside for Apple. Maybe that curls back down, get some kind of pullback, because pretty much with Apple, it's like, yeah, if we scoop up to this area, we can start to create head and shoulders anywhere in this area. So right here, I'm going to be paying attention. Right here, I'm going to be paying attention. See if we do something like this. That would give you the cup and handle to head higher into next week. So paying attention to a lot of stuff, but really appreciate you guys coming by today. Apple looked even stronger as we're closing out here for the stream. Really appreciate you guys being here, and I hope that you guys have all the luck in the world trading the rest of the day, and we will be here tomorrow morning, so make sure you like and subscribe. Trade like water, just like Drake is saying, and I think you guys will be just fine. I think you guys will be just fine. We're going to do good on this channel as long as we're still trading like water, taking profit when we're excited and things like that, and buying stocks when we're scared, right? Go against those emotions a little bit. But really appreciate it. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you to the new subscribers, Shaheen, Mike, Sir East B. Thank you guys for subscribing. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Try to enjoy it and maybe don't take anything too crazy before the weekend, because the weekend has the opportunity for maybe Iran to do something. So let's just be careful out there. Take your profit, and then we'll go into earnings in a little bit. Thank you guys so much for joining. Peace. Oh, and if you want to learn about this stuff, remember that course is below. It's one of the cheapest courses on YouTube, but I am getting some of the best reactions, some of the best emails I've probably gotten in the since I've started that course 6 months ago. Some of the best emails coming out right now, and a lot of people enjoying the trade like water. So no afternoon show today, maybe one tomorrow. We'll have to see, but I'll sell you live if we're gonna go live for the afternoon tomorrow for the close. We'll have to pay attention to what's happening, but mostly in the morning is what is important with the earnings and things like that. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Matthew, thank you for being here. Jeremiah, thank you for being here. Polar Bear Man, thank you for being here. Drake, Chang, Luke, oh God, who else? Tony, HCXB, happy Friday. Dan, thank you guys all for joining. I really do appreciate it. But wait, there's more. No, sorry. All right, have a good day, guys.